Greetings there, my fellow terraforming robots. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Blossom, the Seed of Life. Episode 7, Auto Storage and Drones. Before I start, I wanted to mention just a few things. One, there was a lot of comments about the soundtrack being intolerable. I can't really speak to that too much, but what I can tell you is that the game uses licensed music and music that is free to rebroadcast. So as a content creator, I'm on the disabled licensed music setting. So the soundtrack for the game is actually different if you're not streaming it and you have this enabled. I don't know if that resolves anyone's issues with the trouble with the soundtrack, but of course, if you really don't like the music, you can turn it off and play whatever you want yourself. Yeah. And then, the other thing I wanted to mention was having Blossom gone 1.0 on release, there has been a lot of hotfixes and balances. So some of the issues that I had previously, which is why I haven't really been investing things like auto storage and things like of that nature, they have been rebalanced to be cheaper and more convenient and easier, which significantly changes the equation, because up until now I've been like, yeah, I don't want to build that stuff. It's power hungry, it's resource hungry, and it got rebalanced. So the game is 1.0, but it is being hotfixed and balanced and bug fixed and all that. And I just wanted to mention that it is changing rapidly. Also, Kadath, thank you for the gifted subs. So as you can see over yonder, our current priority is to deploy a biospray tower tier 1. And what this is going to do is it's going to create like a biofilm, a sort of, yeah, I guess biofilm might be the best way to describe it, to lay down, you know, the ability to start planting stuff, you know, essentially creating soil. And if we take it, it requires a biocore, which is 2 steel, 2 gold. So let's go ahead and get said stuff. We know where steel is, and we know where gold is. We're currently actually scanning for gold deposits, and let's start getting this stuff in. Now, there's a whole lot of different ways to manage building up resources. One of the things I've been doing as a content creator, which is maybe not how most people would approach this game, is I only get like the bare minimum of materials so that I keep the flow going. Basically, I haven't been grinding out resources because grinding out resources isn't exactly the most thrilling thing to watch. So it's not to say that it is the most efficient way of going about it. My way is obviously requires a lot of round trips and extra exploration, mining, searching, etc. And then also, I haven't been building storages and amassing resources because that also requires resource investment and time, etc., etc. So I might do a little bit more of that, getting kind of like a healthy chunk of resources. With that said, it's very intentional that I haven't been doing that just because that's my style and not necessarily like the quote-unquote correct way to play or anything like that. Cosmic Honors, thank you for the resub too. It's been a whole year. Cheers. Once we get the Biospray Tower Tier 1 up and running, the other thing I'd really like to do is invest in printing and crafting for the rover so I can do it from wherever, which is going to be a massive benefit to me. The next thing we want to scan for is steel, and I'm not certain you can even scan like that for it, so I'm going to turn off the scanner and just look for debris to break down, because steel is obviously just like debris that you find out in the wild from like human terraforming wreckage attempts. You don't actually forge the steel yourself. This is probably a hang up for a lot of new players where they're like, oh, it needs steel, let me go find a steel node. And it's like, yeah, no, you don't just mine steel out of the ground like this is RimWorld. You gotta break something down for it. And it wouldn't necessarily hurt to do 2 biocores. And the reason for this is, like, as I was saying, generally, what you're going to want to do when you're terraforming stuff is get, like 2 or 3 versions of the thing. I had mentioned this before. You want 2 or 3 versions of the thing to be able to, like, keep up with progress. And I stand by that. I still think that that's roughly true. Getting, like, 3 drills or 3 pumps or 3 heaters or 3 whatever. That's sort of like the Goldilocks balance of a proper amount of time invested to terraform, not an overinvestment of time. The exception maybe would be heat, because you're only trying to get it up to 30 Celsius. You kind of hit the heat goal well before you hit the pressure goal or the oxygen goal or the soil goal, etc., etc. So at the moment, we have a water pump and we have some water storage, and I want to be setting up these biospray towers. And what's interesting about these biospray towers, they're essentially sprinklers that are just going to sprinkle water and create soil, but they do not require power. So they're a water network only, not a power network. Also, just my advice is I like to not set it up too close. The infrastructure for that is too close to the industry that you're building. And it's because eventually the soil that you build and the infrastructure that you set up will be used to start planting stuff. And the base that you built here, if the ground is covered in grass, it's actually very hard to plug things in. So I highly advise you can use the biospray tower. All the biospray tower does is really add dirt. But once you start actually terraforming, don't terraform around your base. It's going to make running your base a lot harder when you cover everything with grass and you can't actually see the cables laying on the ground. So just like keep that in mind, I suppose, going forward. All right, so we're going to do 2 different biocores. And then we are likely going to need some infrastructure for the water network for that. And this is where having a mobile printer comes in really handy, because I don't want to be lugging around the physical printer that's on that I have to reattach constantly. So if I wanted to, let's say, towards the, what is this, east-northeast? Towards the east-northeast, if I wanted to run water and power out that way, either I have to keep moving this stupid printer over and over and over and over and dragging it, replugging in, dragging it, replugging in, or I just, like, build a printer on my rover, which is 1,000 times smarter. And that's exactly why I want to get that up and running ASAP. But at least for the first biospray tower, I'm going to be doing it like the slow way, which I'm warning you not to like invest in forever, obviously, by moving printers. So we'll just start biospraying here. All right, so we have a biospray tower. And if we want to activate this needs a water connection, which is why I set the biospray tower up pretty close to our water pump. Now, the water pump is pumping 1 unit of water per second. And the biospray tower is using... Actually, I'm not even really sure how fast it's using it. Oh, 2 a second. So as you can see, there's a bit of a mismatch there. We're going to need 2 pumps. But before we even bother doing that, I would like to get mobile printing and crafting set up. I'm going to get the 2 gold ores that we've got. And let's blueprint the modules for mobile printing and crafting. So the first one we're going to do is, let's say, the crafting station. So that is gold wire, which is gold ore, and then a heat sink, which is sulfur and titanium. And I have the gold wire already. And I'm going to make another gold wire because I know the other one also requires gold wire. They both do. So we have 2 gold wires. And then we want sulfur and titanium, which I don't believe I have. So let's go fetch it. Did I leave any sulfur in this water? Yeah, I did. So one of the things you might notice is the sulfur in this water got, like, processed, like broken down by the fact that the water level went up. So I don't even have to mine it, which is pretty convenient, if you ask me. And then the other thing we're going to want is titanium, and titanium is probably, like, the easiest thing to find. Like, aluminum and titanium is not hard to find at this rate. And then what this is doing is it's adding biological growth to the planet. So if we hit tier 1, as you can see, there's planetary soil on the bottom left. So it's just like covering the planet in like irrigated soil for algae's sake. That's the long goal of it. Think of it as like lichen and stuff like that. And we'll get the crafting module, and we'll get the printer module, and that will make setting up the infrastructure for everything going forward infinitely easier. I can't imagine trying to do it without that stuff. I may also then segue, once we have like 2 towers up and running with enough water production to feed them efficiently, to get some storage and maybe even some drones. If anything, just to demonstrate what they do and how they work. Ooh, and soil stage 1 just got hit. Now, unlike the other terraforming devices, once the tower, that tower that I have set up right now, is done, the soil in its vicinity will be turned to dirt, but then I'll have to set it up somewhere else. So unlike the heaters and the drills that are just doing the whole planet, this is only doing a localized area. Which means these towers are going to have to be set up and redeployed, which is exactly why I'm doing the crafting station module and the printing station module, so that we can set up and deploy these in various locations without having to lug around a physical printer constantly, which would be slow, inefficient, quite honestly stupid. Don't work stupid if you don't have to. Alright, so here's the crafting station module. And I'll set this here. And the next one we want to do is the printing station module. And this requires a power junction. Which now I can just make here, right? Because this is the same, the same crafter essentially. It's not, like, limited in any way. It has the same list of recipes and everything. It can do everything the normal printers and crafters can do. It's not in any way, like a truncated list of stuff. So 1 copper, 2 chromium, Got it. The copper's easy. The chromium we'll have to seek out. Cheers, by the way. And then and I'm sure you noticed, I mined out all of the gold and all of the titanium that we found with the intention of eventually investing in some storage. God, there's so much chromium out this way, I can't even tell which one's closest. Probably if I just drive this direction, it'd be fine. So once we get the power junction, I believe we're generating enough power, not enough water, granted, but enough power to consider adding some like auto storages. Okay, the rover has 0 empty slots. Good to know. So I've got 6 slots. I guess I'll mine 6 chromium. Just fill myself all the way up. Oh, with that said, I could save myself some space by making the power junction. Now that I have the crafting station, I can just make the power junction here, combining 3 items into 1. Should help with storage space. So now I have enough room for the rest of the chromium, too. Hey, Fraggles. Thank you for the resub. Every time I see your name pop up, it reminds me of my wife telling me that I dance like Fraggle Rock. Which I'm assuming your name... Yeah, your name came from Fraggle Rock. So basically, I can't dance. Which I'm okay with. Not one of my talents. The train of carts is, yeah. So to cover what the carts are, of course, we have a scanner and its storage. We've got a crafter and soon a printer. 2 wind turbines and 2 batteries. And I think that's a pretty reasonable setup for a... like a train, if you will. And we have planetary coverage, let's say about 1/5 of the way there. And here, as you can see, this is what it looks like when it starts to get covered. It turns green with, like, I don't know, miracle grow. So now it's growing algae at 50% efficiency, and the 50% efficiency... Oh, there we go. Area fully covered in algae. Basically, this area that I'm in right now cannot get any better. So I will need to move that tower to make any more progress. But also, it wasn't very efficient because I ran out of water, so we're also going to need to pump more water if we want to do it better. Alright, so now I have the power junction. The next thing we're going to do is print up that printer. And I probably don't have the materials on me. Yeah, so I need to grab the gold wire. Here we go. All right, with the printer module, I can now print on the run, which is great. So some of the other things that we want to add, there's maybe need for some storage. So storage drones have... The storage drone platforms are equipped with a slow storage drone that has a slot, and it collects loose resources on the ground and delivers them to auto storages on its own. One of the advantages of this is if you don't want to have to store stuff, you can just like dump everything on the ground when you get home, and the storage drones will like just sort of sort it out itself. And then you couple that with the auto storages, and the auto storages have 6 slots. At least this tier has 6 slots of 4 types each, so it can hold up to like, you know, 6 different types of things. So like, you know, 4 copper, 4 silver, 4 gold, so on and so forth, and it will stack like that. And I think that might be reasonable setup, just as like an experiment. The other thing I wanted to check is the progress we've been making. So before I start working on higher level storages, we've got auto storage tier 3, which might be even better than the tier 2. Mining laser tier 3 is unlocked as well, I think. And the better scanner. So and unfortunately my printer module's over here. So the one thing this printer can't do, as far as I know, is analyze disks. And that's the thing that like only this printer can do. Which is a reasonable limitation, I think. I'm going to move this printer back to where it used to be, next to the Terraform analyzer, because that's honestly where it should be, for convenience. And the next thing I'll do is set up the storages, so we have like some decent storage. But only after I move the biotower, because that biotower is now idling, so we're really not making any progress. So taking a look at the full details, we are about a third of the way to rover tier 2, right? 35,000 out of 100,000, which just is an indicator of like how much pressure needs to go. But the only things we have to unlock is tier 3 solar, which I'm not really using solar at all. Temperature's done. Soil is just hit the milestone here, and the water pump tier 2 will significantly make it easier to feed the biospray towers, and then we get a bigger biospray tower eventually later on. Alright, so one of the issues that I think I'm going to face if I do want to improve the storage is, like, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of inventory space myself at the moment. So I'm going to need to, like, make a mess to clean up my mess. Oh, and let's, like, charge, too, because I don't want to die. So what I'm saying is, if you ever, once you have the storage drone, you can just, like, dump everything, and the storage drones will sort it for you, which is a great way to organize and clean up so that you don't have to interact with your own inventory. And that's exactly what we'll do. So let's start getting the materials for the auto storage, and then we'll get the materials for the storage drone and do this smarter. So, silver ore and uranium. I see some uranium on the horizon over this way, so let's go get it. The reason I don't want to use the storages inside is, like, they're super inconvenient to interact with, so I'd rather just dump things on the ground and build a better storage than mess with the inside storage. Basically, build a better system than be saddled with a bad one. And another reason why I was waiting to make storage is I really wanted the tier 3 storage so that the tier 2 and 1 storage didn't, like, eventually become obsolete. Sometimes it's just worth more to be patient, I guess. So let's make radiation cells out of this. So that's the crafting station. And then what we need here is silver. And I hope there's silver nearby. There is a whole bunch of silver to the north. Hey! Chummy, thank you for the sub. Cheers. I appreciate it. Daylight savings got you? If you, ever are wondering when I'm going to be live, Discord in my website are really good ways to do it. Discord uses, like, Unix time, so it will automatically adjust to your own time zone. And that way, you're not making any calculations or anything like that. So now we have all the materials we need for the auto storage tier 3. So the other thing I wanted to do to pair with this is the storage drone tower. So we need another processing unit. And then a heat sink, and I have the materials for the heat sink back home. So we just need... Oh, and I also have the chromium back home, so I just needed the one silver. And this should significantly improve our base storage, so that we can spend a lot less time monkeying around with it. And then I'll move the bio tower. Just with the giant pile of garbage we had back home, feels bad leaving it there. So probably the best way to set up the bio towers is to have one source where we pump a lot of water, and then to use the water plumbing to then pipe it out, so that you have a centralized system, because a centralized system is going to be easier to manage than a decentralized one, in my opinion. Okay, now the processing unit. And then 1 sulfur, 2 titanium for the heatsink. Alright, so here's a storage drone platform, and I think it's probably best if I put it... I'm gonna put it like here. This was a, one of our fuel generators. And then we'll connect this up. Oh, don't draw off me. Don't drain me, bro! There we go. Oh, that is really wonky. Let's move it somewhere flatter. And it's already heading to, like, iron ore to store it. Alright, and the next thing we're building, of course, is the auto storage. Because those things definitely go hand in hand. So then I'll build an auto storage right here. The auto storages will have... so one of the other benefits of the auto storage is anything in the auto storage will be made available for printing and crafting in its vicinity. And with that in mind, I will... No, stop using my power. I will absolutely need more power cables. So that's one more thing to do. So let's get the power extender tier 3. Just so that I don't have to keep churning out new ones. And, you know, interestingly, I don't think I have... This is iron ingot. I don't have any aluminum ingots. Let's go get some aluminum real quick. And then our storage capacity and auto storage will just be a lot better. You watch this full series on YouTube, you're happy to catch it live? Well, I appreciate you catching it live. I really do. I'm happy that people join me. One thing I have not checked is if the nuclear generators will need, and it's probably because we're generating so much wind power, I don't really need to worry about it too much. But whether we need more rods or not. This one is lacking a rod. So the answer might be maybe? And in here, as you can see, it's not powered yet. But when it was powered, it has 2 iron. So this will... It's kind of like a vending machine, if you will, where you can't mix and match. So those two, that row of iron, you can't then put titanium behind it. It has to all be iron. So it has to all be of one type. That's the only major stipulation with it. So if you think of it like a vending machine, I think that makes a lot more sense. All right, power time. It's crazy how much bigger the tier 3 cables are. Okay. Now, if I wanted to prime this, I can then start storing stuff. And if I wanted to phase out my old storage, and the old storage, I will say, is still good for, like, one-off items. Items that you will not have, like, an entire row of. Like old heat cores, or the Seed of Life, or anything that you just aren't gonna have, like, a bunch of stacks of. So the old school storages, I still think are more efficient than the new ones for things like that. So like an iron ingot, I don't think I'm gonna have like multiple iron ingots at any time on purpose. So it's not worth having an entire row dedicated to iron ingots in this auto storage. How much more power? So this is an 8. These are a 4, and the other one's a 6. So this is the tier 2 with 6. These are tier 3 with 8. And then also the cables obviously will can be extended farther. And the little drone is collecting stuff automatically. Now, to show you the other advantage of that, because my auto storage has, let's say, iron and copper in it, I can print from that material, right? So I don't have to like move material around. I can just draw it out of my own auto storage. All right, let's go ahead and get another water extender. Oh, actually, we just hit the second to last tier of pressure. And then we're going to want some composite metals for plumbing to hook up. Ooh, gold ore. To hook up the plumbing for the towers that we want to build. So we need regolith chunks. And that little storage drone is just going to keep working and cleaning everything up. I don't really need to worry about that. What's the range of the drone? I think they just changed it. So I don't really know anymore because they like hot fixed it. They've been doing some balancing. I think historically it was like 100 meters, but I don't really know if it has a range anymore. I'm sure it does. I just don't know what that range is. So I don't know how much the plumbing network we're going to need will be. So I'm just going to overdo it and get a whole bunch of iron for a whole bunch of composite metal for a whole bunch of, like, plumbing. And obviously the tier 1 water extenders are going to not be as efficient as the tier 2s and 3s in terms of plumbing. So they will be obsolete, but, like, it's not a big deal to invest in them, in my opinion. All right, so 4 composite metal. And now we're ready to get back to soiling. Maybe that's the wrong term. And I might want to build a few tier 1 pumps to accommodate multiple towers. Hoping to get tier 2 pumps soon so that we can phase out the tier 1s. No, I didn't want a power extender. Whoops. Water extender. Not really sure how far this will connect, but let's see if it can go over to the tower. Oh yeah, we're okay. I could even move it farther. Because obviously the new tower, like when we move this tower here, or actually now that I have the easy ability to just like break it down, I don't even need to move it because that doesn't make sense. I'll just deconstruct it, reconstruct it because you get full refunds. We don't want it inside the radius of the old area because it would be far less effective, right? I'm not trying to add to, you know, I'm trying to, so what ends up happening is you don't have to cover like the entire planet with algae. You just have to hit a milestone, essentially. I don't think it can reach that far, which is why it snapped. Maybe overdid it. Point being, once you hit the milestone, it will sort of like autocomplete and cover the entire planet as if you had done everything. So you're not actually trying to min-max. Yeah, okay. It did go too far. And this would not have been an issue if this was a tier 2 extender or a tier 3 extender. So, I wish there was like an easy visual way to know, but we'll just have to monkey with it. So I think about there should do. So little spoiler, not a big one, but eventually on this soil, we're going to spray algae as like a plant base, like fertilizer, and then we'll spray plants. And when you start to add plants, you'll also want to probably run power alongside your water. So you could, the other alternative to this, if you wanted to, is like, let's say you set up 4 or like 2, like on your train, you have a wagon that is all like water tanks. You hypothetically could do it that way, where you have enough for a water connector. You fill your water tanks up at like a water tower, right? So I bring the water tanks over to this water tower over here. I fill the water tanks, and then I drag the wagon out to like an empty plot. I drop down one of the bio towers, and then I plumb it up to the wagon water tanks, if that makes sense. And then have the, you know, because there's water tanks that you can add on to the wagon. These guys. And you could do it that way. I'm just choosing not to do it that way because it's eventually we're going to want the infrastructure of a water network that is more permanent, or at least I'm going to want that. Now, there are reasons to have water tank for other stuff, but probably not to spray algae and biofilm, in my opinion. All right, so I'm going to try to drag this out, but not have it snap. Oh, why does it think the printer's out of range? Huh. Yeah, the water network isn't too bad. You're right. The tier 3 extenders can go really far. So it's not a big problem. And what we're just trying to do is we're trying to upgrade our progress so that we can get up to that really far range. There we go. So now out this way, we'll drop one of the biosprayers and spray a new zone full of algae. And you can visually see the printer radius of the thing. Point the water towards the pipe. And then after we get this hooked up, we're going to want to add some more pumping. And then another tower, because I have another biocore for another tower. Here we go. Thank you for tuning in to Blossom, the Seed of Life, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhydamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhydamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow terraformers.